everybody. This is Jim and Tim once again from the Rational Rage Cryptocast. Today's topic is going to be on aliens, which is kind of convenient considering that Spiro got abducted by aliens and somehow he's trapped in carbonite at some guy named Jabba the Hutt's palace. I'm not quite sure where that is, but if we find out, we'll go rescue him, okay? Because, you know, Spiro's our boy.
I hope they bring him back to us, man. Let's hope he's not probed.
I heard on the down low he likes to be probed sometimes. You know, he is Greek, right?
I was going to say that. Beware of Greeks. Beware of Greeks bearing gifts, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, yeah, this week's episode, even without Spiro, because he's off in a far-off land somewhere in space, floating through time, we're doing aliens. So Jimmy T from Aussie land. Question for you. About 2 weeks ago, there was a UFO sighted in New Jersey in the United States.
I actually didn't.
Was it a UFO or was it the Goodyear blimp?
More than likely, probably the Goodyear blimp. At this point, no, look, in all seriousness, I never heard about that. When did that happen? Last week, you said?
Yeah, like, no, two weeks ago.
Okay.
You never heard about that? It was everywhere.
I kid you not, I have not heard about it.
What?
So please elaborate a bit more for me.
Well, it happened in New Jersey a few weeks ago, and people, like, all over Instagram, Facebook Live, it's all over YouTube.
Really?
Everybody, like, stopped traffic on the highway, the people that videotaping this. But to me, when I originally seen the video at first, it looked different than when I looked back at it afterwards. So I'm wondering if they had to come up with a cover story and edited all the footage to make it actually look like a Goodyear blimp.
Well, does it look similar to a blimp? Or is it your typical saucer sort of look?
The way that it was videotaped originally, you know what? Hit pause for a second. We're going to do a time warp, guys. Just give us 1 minute.
That looks like a blimp, sort of, but then it does look sort of saucer at the same time when it zooms in.
Yeah. This one here is very blimpish.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And just the way it's moving, it's kind of got this sort of hover to it, if that makes sense.
Okay, well, I'll click onto this other one here.
Is it the same thing?
This is the first one that I seen.
Oh, that looks a bit... Is that fake? Oh, that could be Photoshop, man. Or like video editing. That looks a bit... Eesh. And I'm trying to be as honest as possible. I don't know, man. I'm not convinced with that. The other one was real, whatever it was. Blimp or UFO.
Yeah, but there's like a bunch of people with pretty much the same footage. There was like 1,100 videos uploaded within like 2 hours. But see, to me, this one here, the way the shape of it actually, because originally what I seen was a still photo of, I think, this video or one of the same ones from this angle.
Yeah.
So to me, what it looked like was, you know, sort of like...
Because look, it looks like it's got a screen on the side, if you know what I mean, like for advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But initially, the first photos I seen of it were pretty insane.
Yeah, it's hard to really, because the thing is, skeptics will still shit all over it, man. And I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, you know what I mean? Otherwise...
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'd love to say, yeah, fuck yeah, 100%. But the problem is I'm not 100% convinced just yet. Unless you show me more. Yeah,
these are some of the still photos and stuff. Like,
it looked like the third one, man. The one...
See, like this one here, right? The way that it sort of looks like just the shape of it, and then with that blue beam in the middle, it looked like different before.
It looks like a blimp, dude.
You still see a blimp, eh?
Yeah. Look at the photo next to it. The one that you were just showing me. The one, yeah, that one. It looks like that, dude.
Yeah, well, that's just a sample photo of a Goodyear blimp.
Yeah. And that one looks...
Here's the first picture I seen. See this with the circle on it? It looks like a Klingon spaceship.
It's blurry, though, man. I'm still not convinced. If I showed you my UFO sightings, right? It doesn't look like that. And this was at night. And this is years ago, though. But like maybe 2012, 2013, maybe. And it was at 3 in the morning, man. And if you see these ones, you'll be more convinced than this one, 100%. Fuck, I feel like I've got a lisp going on right now. I'm just like, as I'm talking. But anyway, do you want me to show you those pictures, what I was talking about?
So that's the picture you took? Whereabouts was that?
Where I used to live a few years ago. but you wouldn't know the suburb. But it was a suburb called Reservoir, and I was coming home, and I kid you not, it followed me for roughly about 4 miles, say,
Yeah.
back home. And when I stopped, it actually stopped as well. So it just stood, it just hovered there. So I'm just
So to
sitting
me,
at
it
the front.
looks like a red triangle or something. Like,
It first was like a red sort of orb, right?
yep.
And then it turns into three white sort of like stars. But
So it started as like one triangle,
no, it
and then
started as a red, just a red like orb,
red orb.
like a red orb. And it was a red orb from when I left and when I
Yep.
got home. And then it just went white. And then it went sort of, it's like three things broke away, man. And it turned into like a triangle sort of formation.
Is Australia a hot spot for UFO sightings?
Australia is not only a hot spot, but my state where I'm at is the hottest spot in Australia. Here and there's another place, like in well Roswell, for example. You
Yeah.
know how everything's sort of like alien this, alien that, like the souvenir stores and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's a place here, but not in my state, but Queensland.
Yep.
It's called like Minium. It's sort of called like that, yeah. Like the place. It's like a native name,
Hmm.
like Binium or something like that. And basically it's like a UFO highway. And they've even got like the sign, like, just like in Roswell. And that place there is a real hot spot as well. But there's been abduction cases. The Westall UFO incident that happened in 1966 here, where four
Hmm.
UFOs, I kid you not, landed at primary school. At a primary school. So there was witness.
Really?
I kid you not. Look up the Westall UFO incident, 1966.
A
Sorry,
weird off kilter question for you. Can you
go
hear me
for it.
still? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Um. Now, do you know if back in the 20s and 30s, well, no, actually, it would be the 40s and 50s, possibly, if they had ever tested nuclear bombs in that area?
In Australia, yeah.
Yeah. Because I was talking to somebody one time, he was putting a correlation between like the Roswell alien sightings versus where they used to test the nuclear bombs.
Well,
So sort of like where the nuclear bomb area was, it was sort of like a magnet, like a signal flare sent out to the sky, and it was like a magnetized, brought the alien people in to check out like where there's in North America, there's a direct correlation most of the time on alien sightings versus where the US did nuclear bomb testing.
funny enough, there has been plenty of incidents where, especially during the Cold War, and I'm pretty sure it's happened in Canada too, where nuclear plants, like at nuclear plants, UFOs or like missile silos, say, have you heard the incident where missiles somewhere in the States automatically like activated and was pointing towards Russia at the time? And
Yeah, I
apparently,
heard something about that, and nobody could claim as to what happened.
well,
I,
there's
I
a
blame it on the Terminator.
well, apparently it's happened at all sorts of bases, especially like at air bases. Apparently, missiles were already like set automatically while there was UFOs in the sky. So, and they say it was apparently the UFOs that actually got them to set off, but they didn't go off in the end though. So nothing happened.
No. Yeah,
But
well, I think we would have noticed because I think there's an automatic parameter if there's a nuke heading for Russia that they're coming right back at us.
well, apparently it went both ways. Even in Russia, the same similar sort of incidents happened, and apparently it was because of UFOs. I'm not saying they're aliens because you never know; they could be ours. True.
Well, that's the thing too. You never know what somebody's been making and stuff. Like you hear about
The secret
Nazis
space.
making
Yeah.
alien spaceships and stuff. Like
And apparently they
I've
went to
seen video
Antarctica.
footage of the Nazis.
But they did go to South America. I guarantee you 100% they were in Argentina, no doubt. I believe Hitler was even there. If they got there by UFOs, who knows? But they definitely were testing some sort of UFO looking thing. The
Yeah,
Nut
you
Bell,
see,
whatever it's called.
you can actually find the footage of it on YouTube.
Yeah, so because they never found it. They never actually found the original belt. And
Well, here's
there's
the thing. Like, do you think we'll get to the nitty gritty of this? Do you believe in aliens?
I do. You know why? Because why are we here? Seriously, like think about it. To me, I can't wrap around my head how we can just be the only things on this whole galaxy, the whole
Yeah.
universe.
Now, I agree with that, but do you think possibly on Mars that they're just like single cell organism type things, or do you think it would be more of something like a human or an animal type creature?
I believe there's a possibility we were there in the past, and stop laughing, D. All right, because now I sound like a whack job, right? We're talking about aliens, D, for Christ's sake, yeah? So it doesn't matter. I don't give a shit what people think. This is just my opinion, right? I think there's a possibility. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying it's 100% sure. But I think there's a possibility that we could have even came from Mars. You never know. I mean, there is sort of weird structures according to people, but we can't prove what it is. Could just be a crater anyway, but they look kind of suspicious to me. Even the moon.
Yeah.
Even the moon, like, is a bit weird to me. Have you heard about, Crow 777, right?
Yep.
You know what he got famous for originally?
The photos of the moon stuff, right?
Exactly. What the hell's going on there? Why does it look like when you play a VCR and you have to track it, the tracking?
Yeah. Yep.
Doesn't it look like that? Like his footage?
Yeah,
footage? That's weird, man.
Yeah, I've watched that a couple times actually, because you'll see the video in real time, and then there's like slow motion version of it, and it's like totally like your impersonate, like what interpretation of it with the video tracking thing. Yeah, that's totally what it looks like.
Well, that's the only way I can explain it. I mean, how else what do they call it again? The moon wave or something like that?
Yeah, something like a moon wave, yeah.
And it's not just him that showed this footage. There's evidence from multiple people that, I mean, I haven't seen it like that personally, but I haven't actually taken a camera and even done that. So it's weird. I even believe the moon's not even as far away as they say it is.
Really?
Yeah, because I know there's science and all this shit, right? But
yep.
It's either going to sound stupid, man, again, and you're going to laugh probably, and it's easy to explain and I get it, right?
Yep.
But still, why does the moon sometimes look like it's closer or like way further? Like, it's a bit weird too, man.
Do you know what's weird to me here in North America is that I can see the moon almost the whole day now.
Me too, believe it or not.
And I don't remember that being a thing.
It's happening here too. And I don't remember it being a thing all the time either. But now it's like it doesn't move. It feels like, right? And you know what else is weird? If it's doing the same thing where you are, and I'm on the other side of the planet pretty much, or across the pond, but a big pond.
Very big pond.
Very big pond, right? Like, why are we both seeing the same thing, like, during the day, right? It's the same moon. We're seeing the same moon, right? It's not like it's a different moon. But explain that. You can't explain that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely can't.
And even in history, I know I'm going on a moon tangent right now, right? But it's still relevant to what we're really talking about. Like, I'll wind that up together. But there's apparently like a time where humans were here before there was even a moon, supposedly.
Really?
That's what they say, yeah.
I never heard that theory.
Look into it. I kid you not.
But well, that's part of the problem we have with our Cryptocast and shit. We end up leaving with more questions than fucking answers.
That's what I love to hate this subject, especially. But the whole paranormal, man, like, you're left with more questions. You're never going to get an answer. And I'm not saying that because of NASA, right? Never a straight answer, right?
But another 7 astronauts.
Do you remember even the Challenger thing, like when that exploded, right?
I was in grade 1, I believe, and
you were in grade 1 when Challenger happened.
Yeah,
if you were in grade 1, then I was pretty young. I think we were older, dude. What year did that happen?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
I think we were older than that, man. I think I was in like fifth grade, I think, when that happened, dude. I think it was
No,
93,
no,
92.
no way. No, it was a lot farther back
You
than that.
sure?
Oh, for sure.
It wasn't in the 80s. I'm pretty sure it was early 90s. Where the
1986,
no way. You're
January
kidding.
28th.
Where they died, where it exploded, right?
Yep.
86. That's oh my god. Dude, that's a Mandela effect.
See, I remember it happening because
So do
I
I, bro.
was in school. We were watching it. And you want to know what the weird part is? There had been other space launches and we hadn't watched. It was like this one specific
And
space launch was so overhyped. I think it could be because they had like civilian astronauts going on there or whatever, but we were in grade one
well,
and it was around lunchtime, I believe, and we're watching this thing and then boom. And the teacher ran over, shut the TV off, and we just sort of all stood there with our jaws dropped. Like, what the fuck did we just watch?
yeah, well, you know what's ironic about that? You know how you brought up an interesting point. You know how you said you don't know why you were watching it basically because you weren't watching previous ones, right?
No, that was the only one I could ever remember tuning into at school.
Well, the whole world was the same. Like everybody, I saw a documentary not too long ago, and they were saying the exact same thing you said. We never really watched anything previously, and suddenly everyone across North America, even the world,
Yeah.
was watching this certain event for whatever reason, right? And then
Mhm.
that happens. But if I told you that those Challenger people aren't dead, would you believe me?
Yeah, but that's a whole different podcast,
Have you?
my
Yeah.
friend.
Well, I'm just that's a preview, right? But you've heard about that, right?
Yeah, the one person has a twin, and the other person's like, "Oh, I don't even know who that person is, even though I look identical to the person."
Dude,
And yeah,
I don't believe in coincidences, man. That's a bit weird. But like you said, that's another show. But
yeah,
it's a
another
bit
show for
weird.
another day. But we gotta get back onto these aliens.
Well, yeah, my whole point was, do you think the moon is created basically? And I'm not saying like by just rocks. I'm talking, is it artificial?
Like a simulated moon.
Possibly. I mean, could be
Well,
any.
see, that goes back forever. Like a lot of people are saying, and it's kind of a neat theory on the fact that we always see one side of the moon, but what's on the dark side of the moon? Some people say that it's like a trading post, you know, between
Yeah.
Earth and other planets and stuff. You know, that's sort of where the real United Nations is. You know, like up on the moon, and so they sort of cover that up a little bit, but it's hard to say.
Well, because we
I
can't.
do believe in aliens. I do believe they're extraterrestrial. I do believe in UFOs. We've got some old family photos from the late 60s over Lake Ontario. I haven't seen the photos in a few years because my one aunt had them and she passed away, and somehow the box with these 6 photos that my uncle took years and years back have disappeared.
Yeah, isn't that
But I did
ironic,
see them
right?
in real life.
Well,
Yeah,
if
I
would you
know,
believe?
crazy, right?
Yeah. Well, would you believe me? I've had a lot of UFO experiences, and it sounds crazy, man. But I really have, man. But I've never seen an alien, and as far as I know, I've never been abducted, right? But my first ever sighting was in '97, and I actually funny little story. I was waiting for Nitro to start back then, right? Yeah, no shit.
WCW Nitro.
WCW, man, waiting for Nitro, man, Monday Nitro. And this is back in '97, like I said. So it was the peak hour days, you know, of the Monday Night Wars.
Yep.
And it was me. I was at a friend's house, and we're just at the front of his house. Next thing you know, we see this orange orb. That's all I can explain. Like, I mean, and it was doing weird shit, man. It was doing weird patterns. Like, man, it was there for hours, dude. We got binoculars, right?
Mm-hmm.
We looked at it, and you couldn't see it with your naked eye, right? But when we looked at it through the binoculars, you could see like red, white, and blue sort of lights all around it, man. It was like straight up saucer, like a
Mm-hmm.
saucer, but an orange orb. And that was the weirdest shit, dude. And from that point, it it was many years later. That's when I had another sighting. I've had a sighting in front of here where there was about 30 of them, and me and my girl both saw that. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, man, but it's dead set truth, man. And even they say like owls. If you see owls, right, you're usually going to have a UFO encounter, and usually that leads into abduction. Apparently, right? Well, that's
Really,
happened.
eh?
I've had that experience, dude. Like, not abduction. I saw an owl and then a UFO fly past, dude, and I shit bricks. I never shit bricks
So,
with the sighting, but that time I really did.
so there's a correlation between UFO, aliens, and owls?
Yeah. If you look into that, there's a few books about it, but yeah. And I've actually experienced the owl and UFO combination, man. But I didn't get the
Really?
trifecta. I kid you not, dude. Like, I promise you, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's dead set the truth, man. I wouldn't even say this type of shit, but it's true, man. But those photos are the only ones that I've taken though. I never took anything before that because I was in the 90s. There was no such thing as camera phones or even cell phones yet, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Jimmy, those were some pretty cool pictures that you had. It's kind of neat, having people that that have taken pictures because then it seems more viable. But speaking of pictures and stuff, I got a question for you. How much of life and alien stuff has impacted movies? Like, is a movie, say, E.T., art imitating life, do you think? Or
Honestly, not ET. I don't believe so. But even though there is, I can't remember what case it was, but apparently the ET movie was based off an actual case.
oh, really?
Yeah, apparently, but I forgot what it was. Freaking, hey, what was that?
I know back in the days, early 90s, I think it was, there was this movie called Fire in the Sky.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. The
That was supposed to be
Walton,
based off
Travis
of a true
Walton,
story. What's that?
the Travis Walton case.
Yeah.
You know what? That's pretty compelling, man. Yeah, Travis Walton. Basically, yeah, Travis Walton. What happened with him? You know the story, obviously, right? Like they were in the woods working, and then a UFO appeared. And next thing you know it, he got hurt by the UFO, right? By accident. They say it must have been by accident. Apparently he was dead. Next thing you know it, he was gone. And
Yeah.
the friends couldn't find him. But the police got involved, the media were involved. No one could find him for days.
Hmm.
And the guy's actually done like what's it called? A polygraph test, right?
Hmm.
And passed it. All of them. I mean, explain that. And then he just turns up.
You can't.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the most compelling cases, like really, that you can point out and be like, okay, that's weird. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, movies versus real life, that Fire in the Sky, I believe, is probably the closest to anything that's ever happened. But one of these days, I'd like to find out if George Lucas actually has a third eye and he knows, like, maybe the Return of the Jedi really did happen.
Even Spielberg apparently is supposed to know like cases. They say they're CIA ops, even George Lucas.
You know what we should
Supposedly.
do? We should revisit this episode again in a few weeks. We'll do some research on George Lucas and Spielberg, and we'll do a Cryptocast just on the movies that they made and what they might actually know. I know that we personally haven't even touched the surface on this.
No, man.
Me and you have had a lot deeper conversations on this stuff than what we just had right now, but we can't have these podcasts go on for 4 hours. So
No, but why not? I mean, that's a good.
But anyways, Jimmy, I got to rock and roll for the day.
Go for it, man.
And Spiro, we miss you, my friend. This has been the Rational Rage Cryptocast. Yeah, free Spiro from the Carbonite.
Free Spiro, man.